What's up, everyone? We are back talking about another Tamron lens. That's right. This is the month of Tamron lenses. I mean, they've launched, as of today, 2 are going to be available on the market. Obviously, I think the third one, the Fujifilm X mount as well. And I want to touch, of course, on the 35-150, as you can tell by the title of this video. Now, I also did the 28-75 G2 lens, which is a fantastic lens. I'm actually filming this review with it right now. And that was a very fast review because there's really nothing bad to say about that lens. It was fantastic. It was sharp, great autofocusing speeds. It's compact. It's a great workhorse lens. But this lens falls into that range, but it's also very different. It's also a very special lens. And this lens reminds me of the 28-70 f2 from Canon, the RF mount version. And that lens, when I tried it out on a number of reviews I did in the past, blew me away. Yes, it's a large lens. Yes, it's an expensive lens. But the optics that you're getting out of almost every focal range is like using a prime. And I got a lot of that with this lens as well. Of course, this is going to be for the Sony E mount, so there's a lot more Sony users out there than the RF mount currently right now. And I think for a lot of you who are into wedding photography, event photography, portraiture photography, and you need something that has a fast aperture to it at f2 at 35 millimeters, and of course it does go up, incrementally, but also having a nice range at 150. But having that focal range, think about this for a second: 35 millimeters to 150. How much can you cover? You got a 35 millimeter prime, a 50 millimeter prime, an 85 millimeter prime, a 100 millimeter prime, and a 135 and a 150. I mean, you've got yourself covered pretty much to be the one lens you could carry in your bag. And that's it, if you can handle the weight. Anyway, let's talk about the all-new Tamron 35-150 f2 to 2.8 Di3 VXD lens. It's in the house. Let's talk about it. Now, like all my reviews, I'm not paid or sponsored unless I tell you guys, but I do want to thank Tamron Singapore once again for providing this lens for review. I mean, they've been very kind to me. And, the lenses are fantastic, honestly, folks. I mean, these are workhorse lenses. And as I mentioned in the 28-75 review, and because I'm going to reference that because there is a new direction Tamron is taking with their E-mount lenses. When they first came out with them, they were relatively made of plastic, and they were, they looked inexpensive. They were very nondescript, but they had really good optical performance, and it came at a very good price point. But what we're seeing from Tamron now, and I did see it in the 28-75, and I'm seeing it now in this 35-150, different direction they're taking. It's becoming a more pseudo-premium lens. This might be the only lens you need to pick up. Anyway, I'll go through all the specs right now. We're going to show you some sample footage, video, and photos as well. So let's get down to the more technical aspects of this lens. Okay, inside lens with 21 elements and 15 groups, we have 3 glass molded spherical elements and 4 low dispersion elements inside of this. This is a packed lens, okay? Weight, though, does come in at a hefty 1,165 grams. This is a heavier lens. And this is something that for some people, it may be a turnoff or they might be okay with it. But you got to think about this for a second. You're getting a 35 to 150. But at this weight, I've tried Zeiss Octus lenses at this weight that were a prime lens. I've tried other lenses at this weight that were a prime lens. I've tried 70 to 200s that are this, but you got a 35 to 150. So you got to think about that for a second when you put it all into context of how much you're getting in this versus the weight, because that'll be the big deciding factor, in my personal opinion, on this lens before anything else will be the weight of it. Now, in terms of your close focusing, Tamron is known for great close focusing on this. So at your widest angle, it's 0.33 meters, and at your longest angle, it's 0.85 meters. So you're still getting really good close focusing distance with this lens, just like all the other Tamrons before it. And I think Tamron is really priding themselves on this, and you're seeing other lens manufacturers trying to get into this mix as well because they're realizing how much versatility a Tamron lens does give Sony E-mount users out there. Filter size on this lens is 82 millimeters, so keep that in mind if you need to get a filter. Of course, if you're doing video, 82 is pretty much the max that I always do. Then I just get a step down ring if I need to use it on various different lenses, but 82 is that key number. And also the length of this lens is 158 millimeters or 6.2 inches. So yes, it's a little bit of a longer lens as you're taking a look right here. This is it's not a short lens, but I will say it's shorter than a 70 to 200 out there on the marketplace, but it's also quite it's got some width to this on this lens of it. So as you can see, I got quite large hands, and this is how it fits in my hand like this. So it's got some girth, as we say. Talking about some of the features, of course, you do have that USB-C port, so you can do a lot of customization as you can on the 28-75. So you can customize your focus points A to B. You can do firmware updates. You can also adjust the customization buttons here on the lens as well. Now you do have 3 custom modes on this as in terms of a switch: custom 1, custom 2, custom 3, autofocus and manual focus switch. And then you also have a lock switch, so you can lock in on your focal range no matter where you're at, just in case if you want to stay at 135 or you want to stay 85 or 50, you can lock that in and you are good to go. Now this lens is not a Japanese made lens like the 28-75, but to be honest with you guys, I cannot tell the difference in terms of build quality. I know some people got to hang up on that. They're always like, I want a lens made in Japan, or I want a lens made in Germany. I want to be real with you guys for a second. I test a lot of lenses and a lot of cameras, and you know, I really can't tell the difference. The manufacturing in China is fantastic. The manufacturing in Thailand is fantastic. In Vietnam, Japan, also really good. And also these companies have really stringent policies on the products that they're having made out in these countries. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think that's just more for branding than anything else. But once you pick up a lens like this, you're gonna be very happy with the performance. You're gonna forget where this lens is made. Okay, so now that we've gotten some of the specs inside the lens out of the way, let's talk about this f2 to 2.8. Very interesting variable aperture on this. Normally it's 2.8, 3.5, 4.5, 5.6, but f2 to 2.8 really gives you prime lens performance in this body. So from 35 to 40 millimeters, you're going to be at f2. Now from 41 to 60, you're going to be at f2.2. 61 to 80 millimeters at f2.5, and then from 81 millimeters to 150, you'll be at f2.8. So when you come to think about that, you've got a prime lens in pretty much every aspect. You got a fast aperture lens, great for low light performance, great for blowing out your backgrounds if you want that beautiful bokeh, which this lens does have. You have a fast autofocusing motors in this, that VXD, those linear motors in this, so the autofocusing on your E-mount camera is going to be lightning quick. So you've got no issues to worry about. So right now what I'm going to do is I want to show you some sample images that I've taken with this lens. We'll show you some sample of footage that we recorded with this lens as well, because we actually did a couple videos on this channel, actually the 28-75 2.8 G2 lens that was recorded with this lens. All of it. All what you saw me talking to, that was with this lens. So it was very sharp, great bokeh, great fall off, and we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts on the 35 to 150. So as you saw from the sample footage and the sample photos, this lens is absolutely beautiful. It is. I mean, this is going to be a lens that a lot of people are going to be picking up once they get their hands on it, they try it out. I think this is going to go down the road of like the 28-70 f2 from Canon. Now that lens, of course, does come at a premium price point. This also does, you know, compared to other Tamron lenses out there. But once again, you have to consider what you're getting with this lens. You're essentially getting, once again, a 35mm, a 50mm, an 85mm, 100mm, 135mm, and a 150mm lens from f2 to 2.8. If you're a wedding photographer, event photographer, portraiture photographer, children, if you want to capture pets, and I mean, this is a versatile lens for everybody out there. You know, I don't know who this lens wouldn't be for. Obviously, wildlife photography, you're birding because you need a longer focal range on that, of course. But for the day-to-day photographers out there that just need a really good run and gun lens, maybe you're using the 28-75, maybe you got a 24-70, or maybe you've got a 24-90, whatever the case may be, and you're like, look, should I get into this lens? My answer would be, I would definitely try it. I would try it. Now, now people will say, what about compared to a 70-200? Well, It's a different lens altogether. 70-200 is 70 millimeters to 200 millimeters. This is a 35-150. So you're almost at that 200 range, but you're going way down to 35 millimeters. So you can even do street photography with this, but it's a little bit heavy for street photography, to mind you. I don't think I would take this out for street photography. Some people will. If you will, by all means, go for it. But I would say this would be more of a working person's lens than anything else. But I've absolutely loved using it. Anyway, I'm done waxing lyrical about the lens. It's fantastic. I hope you guys get a chance to try it when it does come out in your camera stores when it's available. So with that, those are my thoughts on the all-new Tamron 35-150 Di3 VXD lens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is this a lens you're excited about? Are there any hesitations on it? I would love to hear from you guys. Like always, follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to this channel. Like this video. Helps us out a lot. Be safe out there, and I'll chat to you soon. Take care.